Excellent. Good afternoon. Welcome. For those who have joined us more recently, it's not working. Good afternoon. Welcome. For those who have joined us more recently, last week's Torah portion, we read about Aharon HaKohen, Aaron the high priest, the brother of Moses. Actually, we read about his passing. Torah tells us on the 5th month, on the 1st of the month, Aaron passes away, which is actually tonight begins the 5th month, the month of Av. Tonight is the yahrzeit of Aharon HaKohen, Aaron the high priest. The Mishnah tells us that Aaron was unique because Aaron he had a passionate love for every person. He loved peace and he loved all of God's creations. Therefore, the Mishnah tells us he brought them close to the Torah. Aaron had such a burning, passionate love for every human being, for every one of God's creations, that he couldn't resist. He had this incredible Torah from God, and he felt that he had to introduce it to everyone. And if only they would be exposed to the Torah, the truth of the Torah, they would have a much better life. It reminds me of a story. There was a philanthropist, George Rohr. You may have heard of him. Back in the 80s, he had arranged a high holiday service in Manhattan for unaffiliated Jews. And one Sunday, he went by the Rebbe for dollars, and the Rebbe would give out a dollar bill to give to people so they could give to charity, and he'd give them a blessing. And he tells the Rebbe that, I just wanted to let you know that for the high holidays, I arranged a minyan, a service in Manhattan for Jews of no background, no Jewish background. And the Rebbe, almost like he didn't hear, said, huh? And he repeated himself again. I arranged a service, a high holiday service for Jews with no Jewish background. And the Rebbe was again like, what? And he repeated himself a third time. And clearly, the Rebbe heard him. The Rebbe didn't like something about the way he was saying it. And the Rebbe tells him, you have to know, there's no such thing as a Jew with no Jewish background. Because every single Jew is a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and has an extremely strong Jewish background. The only thing we have to do is we could choose to be more connected or less connected. And that was Aaron's mission of, if people would engage with the Torah, they would be so much happier, so much better off. Now, I don't know Dr. Ben Elul's full story, but I think it connects with the story of discovery of, throughout his travels in Africa and with Rabbi Friedman. Without any further ado, because I don't think anybody came here to hear me, I want to introduce to you in real life, Dr. Yehuda Elad Ben Elul. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us and sharing your wisdom with us.
Sure, Jeff. Into the unknown. But it actually takes me to Africa, is what I thought I would talk about here. Because something very similar happened to me in Africa. I'm an anthropologist, so I study cultures and communities. And when you do a PhD fieldwork in anthropology, you basically have to plan the research for a year. In that year, you write a proposal. In the proposal, you basically plan what you're going to study, who you're going to study, how long, exactly where, what methods. And then there's a group of 5 professors who approve it, and then you get a stamp and you're allowed to go. And so I was writing my plan, and I was describing that what I'm interested in is family life in West Africa, middle class, and domestic sort of how the house contains the family, and how digital technologies, the introduction of smartphones and computers and internet to West Africa, how it's influencing the family dynamics in that. Okay, so it was really well planned and it was all good, and it was approved. And I arrived to West Africa, to a country called Ghana. So it's basically the most western point. Actually, in the slave trade, that's where all the slaves were moving through there are ports there still where the slaves were moving through, but the place itself is not. And it's a pretty like peaceful, nice. It's one of the first. It's the first democracy in Africa, the first independent state in Africa, and so the people there are pretty like easygoing. And I'm around them, and in anthropology, we don't study things in a lab. We participate in the life of those who are around us. We absorb and we learn by experience. So I'm with them in everything they do. So basically, I don't do anything, but I do everything they do. What do you do today? We're going to work. Can I come with you? Just tagging along. So if there's a wedding, I go to the wedding. If they go to church, I go to the church. If they go, let's go with them and talk to them. But my purpose is to study the houses and to study the family inside the house. So my idea was to basically take video tours of the house and to have interviews with the family members and see the rooms. But then I see that whenever I try to recruit interviews and I try to ask, like, can I come over or can I do a research or can I do an interview? It's not the thing like bypassing, like sort of politely. Maybe another guy will think about it tomorrow. They're not saying no, but they're not saying yes. And it was strange for me because I've done this before. Like I've been in Israel, research like this, and in London, where I studied anthropology in London. So I did something similar in London. There wasn't a problem, but now I see it's not happening. And when I am invited to the houses, basically there's like a house, it's all closed, even the windows are closed, the doors are closed, and then there's a courtyard, and when they bring out a chair and we sit in the courtyard. And if I say I want to wash my hands, so they bring out like a bowl of water and you wash your hands. Like the Jews. And if I say I want to eat, they bring me food, they bring me drinks, they basically sit outside. And I'm like starting to get worried because I realized that it's a problem. You're not going in. And I thought maybe it's a stranger, he needs more time. I've been there a while. And I'm getting to know people and they like me and I like them and I'm part of the community already. And friendly people, but it's not changing, not going into the house. So I'm asking, starting to ask people, so why aren't you like, is no one, not you, I'm not going to face that. Why is no one inviting me to the house? I said, no, in Ghana we are very private and we no one goes into the house and it's only for the family and I've never been to the house of many of them. People I grew up with. That's what they tell me. I've never seen like the houses inside of people I know very well. They say, okay, I have a problem, but problem. And I feel like my research is in a crisis, and I don't have a research. I don't know what to do, and I'm writing to my professors, and I'm telling them I can't enter the houses, and my topic is. And then I remember just after a while realizing that, like, again, who is wrong? Was it me or was it them? Are they wrong?
Where did you live in this community?
Okay, so that's the one house I saw. I lived in a house.
Well, did you invite people into your house and did
No.
they come?
It's a good question. I was hosted at a family. A family hosted me, so I didn't invite people over because it wasn't my space to invite. But
Okay.
that allowed me some insight into the houses. And like, I'm like, who is wrong? Like, you guys are wrong. I need to study your houses. And then I'm thinking, they are who they are. I came to study who they are. I didn't come to study who I thought they were. What's the point? That I could have done at home. I could have written a whole PhD at home. A PhD about how I imagined the middle class Africans could have been great. But I came to see what they are. And so giving up what you imagined and seeing is when you start seeing what things are. Like, what is life telling you? What are you out here to learn? And I start to think, okay, everything is an insight. The no is an insight. Sometimes in life, you get a no entry sign. Sometimes you get a go there. But both of them are directions. No entry is also a direction. So what's the insight? So I'm thinking, okay, so the first thing I know about family life in Ghana and domestic life in Ghana, that it's very private. So we're talking about privacy. Okay, so my thought was privacy. What else? So then I started asking about it. So why are you private? And what's so private? And things come up. So it can be about the financial situation. So let's say this is a middle class family. They have nice clothes. They, unlike me, that I iron their clothes. And when I was there, I had to iron my clothes because they would say, why is it not there? So that's in Israel, no one cares, but really important. Yeah. I also learned not to sit. I usually sit like this. They always told me don't sit like this. Like this. But I'm realizing, okay, so let's say they have really nice clothes, they have their iPhone and they have their car, and that's what they show outside. And that presents a certain persona that they can climb up with. But inside the house, maybe they're still working on it. So, for example, there might not be tiles yet, no floors. So because they build the house as they go on. So it takes a few years. So every time they save up and then they add something more. Maybe there are things inside like lots of boxes and old things that they don't throw away, and it's kind of messy. That was one thing. And then on a deeper level, I saw there's like that actually I realized in the churches. I heard the pastor telling them you should be careful of visits because visitors might have like a bad eye on you. They might come to your house and they might be jealous, or they might have like a narrow outlook on you, like, look at him, look at what he got. How did he get to have this? Or something like this. And the energy stays in the house. And they might even, if they practice witchcraft, which is a thing there, they might even hide something in the house, and the person won't know, and suddenly you have like illnesses, and you have economic crisis, and you don't know why. Kind of similar, but throughout when people wrote to the Rebbe, illnesses or financial issues or something else, check the mezuzah. What it is, the spiritual protection of the house was damaged. The seal was broken. So you have to protect the house spiritually. How do you protect it spiritually? You protect it from the evil. So that was another thing. And then I just saw that this preservation of privacy is an art that is basically following my entire experience there. It wasn't only in the houses that I saw it. Once I saw it in the houses, I started seeing it in other places. So, for example, at night, there were hardly any street lights, and the restaurants and bars, they were really, really dark. And everything was really dark. And I would ask, why aren't you turning on the light? And they say, when we go out, we have a drink with a friend or something, we don't want everyone You had a few drinks, now you're having fun, you're enjoying. I started with this woman, I started with this. We want to go out, no one sees us. So the place is dark. Slowly, I started using, like, I realized as I was known in the community that it's true, people know everything you do, it's tiring. So I was like using that as well. So you go to a dark place, you sit with people, you sit with friends, you have a talk, no one has to know, it's fine, it's good. And then I saw that it's even happening in the social media. So basically, I was trying to study how they use Facebook, and there was nothing on Facebook. Just like maybe Bible quotes and like a nice wedding photo, but nothing. Like in Israel, people argue about politics and they share their emotions, and they just, everything is very open, and Facebook is almost like a modern Gemara Talmud page. all the arguments and all the comments, and in there it was just like blank, pretty much, very very dry, and then I realized that all the interesting things are happening on the private platforms, WhatsApp. And they were using Snapchat, which I thought was for kids, right? Snapchat, isn't it like for teenagers?
Yeah.
So they were using that because at that time it was the only application that had disappearing messages.
Yeah.
So they would send a message and the message would disappear after a few seconds, so they're safe. And that was also connected to witchcraft because you can use a photo to do witchcraft on the person, or you can shame them or anything like this. So they were really careful about privacy. It got me thinking about what privacy is and what does it mean to them, what does it mean to Americans. So in most of the literature about privacy it's an American literature, and it's to do with privacy from the state, privacy from the big brother, privacy from the commercial. They're tracking us, they're following us, they're watching us. It had to do with something very like abstract that is out there that is watching me. Well, for them, it wasn't about that. It was just about here and now. It was just about how am I private from my neighbor, from my family, from my friends, from my pastor. How do I keep a private life in a very tight community? And that was just like a good exercise, and what we exercise every day, which is understanding that what life is and what truth is probably more interesting and more accurate and more enlightening than what you thought. You have to just let go all the time of what you thought. Just understand that it's gonna work out somehow. You may not know it immediately, like why were the books not here on time? Obviously, it's not just a coincidence, some things. So I had to make phone calls, I had to work out some things and see qualities in people who helped out, people who had ideas, people who were trying. But something it's an ongoing thing, but something is happening. What is trust really? Trust is knowing that what life is must be the best version that it could be. And it's always about letting go. When I was there, another thing that was a big change that I had to adapt to is the conversation topic. So I was about to talk to them about technology, about finance, about family, but they wanted to talk to me about one thing. What was it, one thing? Huh? Soccer. The next best thing, God. They wanted to talk about God, they wanted to talk about the Bible, and they wanted to talk about Judaism and Israel. Israel politics, but it's not a political. It's almost like I was back then very like liberal, very I would say I was in Tel Aviv University. I was kind of like not very Zionist, kind of like we're wrong, they're right. I was in that stage, and they used to tell me, "So, what's going to happen there in Israel? What's going to happen? Like, what's happening there? What are you going to do?" And I'm like, "No, no, it's the government. It's not me. I'm so sorry. You're right. We should really try harder. We should give up more." And there's like, "No, I mean, God gave you the land. What's complicated? Can't you see?" And I'm like, "What?" It's like 1948. What was it like? 20 Holocaust survivors with a knife fighting 10 huge armies. Open your eyes. Can't you see what happened? You received the land. Or someone gave you the land, you didn't receive the land. You can give something to someone and they don't receive it. Like you can make a joke and they don't laugh, or you can send them a letter and they never read it. So it's like, it's yours, you got it. Why aren't you receiving it? And it got me thinking, because when you're an anthropologist, one of the difficult things is you're not allowed to judge. So it's not like these people crazy that lost their mind, what they're talking about. No, it's like what these people are saying, and this is what I should be writing, this is what I should be understanding, and this is what I should be analyzing and taking into account as a valuable truth. This is what I like about anthropology. Everything is valid because you're studying the point of view of someone else. So, what, you're going to bring your own point of view? So, their point of view was, this is yours. Okay? I just stayed with it. Another thing is they were following up on like the miracles that are happening, and they were excited about it years back. So basically, a lot of them spoke to me about the Entebbe operation. So you all know. So basically, they were saying in Entebbe, when the plane was kidnapped and there was an operation to save hostages, the soldiers wanted to know who's Israeli, it was a Jew, and who is the kidnappers, because they were blended in and they had the same clothes and everything. So what they did is they spoke in Hebrew and they told everyone to dock. And everyone docked, and the terrorists remained, and then they killed them. And they told me, this is the Jewish people speaking the holy language, the Hebrew language of the Bible, thousands of years later, communicating. So like birds or dolphins have their communication. So no one else understands what they're saying. They have their own communication. So they were having their own, it wasn't a religious thing. It was a communication based on a language that the world is made of, a language of the Torah. And that was exciting to hear, because I generally appreciated Hebrew and the fact that I know Hebrew much more than, because I used to go to the churches with them and they read what we read more. Not the Siddur, don't have a Siddur, but they read Psalms, and they read Torah portions. Not ours, but like different parts. And you read the Psalms and you see it's not the same. I don't know if you know Hebrew or not, but it's a translation. So a translation is not the same. It's not original. It's more simple. It's more mundane, I would say. It doesn't have that, like, think about it. King David is sitting down, is writing, is expressing himself through holy words with holy letters, and he's writing his soul out in the language that his soul speaks. You can't really translate it. So I thought, wow, how lucky I am that I know Hebrew, that I can just like open a Torah or original language and just read it. And that was like a big thing, looking at language, looking at the value of Hebrew. Generally, it was always like they were so excited about who I am and where I come from. And it was kind of like you're wearing a shirt and someone's telling you, wow, this shirt is amazing. And you're like, this whole thing, like, I've had it for years. What do you mean? Like Jewish background, yes.
What religion?
Christian, Pentecostal,
I want
Christians.
Mission.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Very charismatic movement is kind of like passing through there. And that's why they are very much into Israel, into Judaism. But it was kind of like you start to see from their point of view yourself. And you realize this is not a regular research. I'm not studying them. I'm studying myself through them. In a way, that was the deep meaning of anthropology. When American or European anthropologists went to Papua New Guinea or to any place, they were really trying to see who they are. Because when you grow up in a culture, it's like a fish doesn't know that he's in water. You assume that culture is nature. It's obvious. You wake up in the morning, you eat this and that, you eat sweet after savories, you go to sleep at night, men do this, women do that. These are clothes. Everything is facts. And then you go somewhere else, and you have to ask yourself, who am I? Like, who am I? What's happening? Like the things I thought were just like background, like the natural way of life, are becoming things that I can look at. I see them now. I see God. I see my Jewish background. I see what it means, how special it is to be 0.02% of the world and come to the edge of the world and have people ecstatic about you. And there was one community there that wanted to, I was told that there's like a Ghanaian Jewish community. I have to see this. Let's see. So they're telling me, okay, no problem. We'll give you the number. They have a rabbi. Call the rabbi. Come see them. I'm going to the rabbi, and he's telling me, we'll be happy to have you and host you, and I will pick you up because it's like at the footstep of a mountain. So you can't get there alone. So I'll pick you up. I say, okay, when? So let's meet Saturday morning. Okay, that's a wrap. Maybe it's before. So I'm like, okay, he's picking me up. He's driving me up there, and he's changing my clothes. They have like blue and white clothes, and he's giving me food, and it's all vegan. Like they only eat vegan food. And then he takes me to the service, and it's basically a church. But instead of the cross, it has a Star of David. And it looks and feels like the Sunday service I've been to, but it's kind of like, they call it a different name. Like we're church and this is Star of David. And the men and the women and the kids come and they sit there and they start singing and praying. And then they bring me up and they ask me to teach them something. And I don't know what to teach them. I don't know what to do. And I realized, wow, like, had I known, had anyone taught me something, well, I must know more than I think, because I have a Jewish background. But I didn't feel like I know. And then I thought, but you don't need to know much because they don't know you. So what about a song? Like, song would be perfect. And okay, which song don't they know? Probably don't know. So I'm thinking I'll go for a unique, original, alternative choice. Have an agree. And I'm writing the lyrics on a board, in English, writing, and I'm starting to sing it to them. I'm like, Ava, Gila. But imagine that your ears, they don't hear it like you guys hear it. It's not like, oh, so many memories, so much culture, so much nostalgia. It's like you're hearing the music, and I'm hearing it like them. Like I'm hearing it for the first time. Like, imagine hearing this for the first time. It's not something we can. And they try to learn it, like they try to figure out the structure. They repeat. The kids repeat. They start to repeat it more and more, and we just repeat it again and again. And after a few moments, the whole village is singing Avanagila. The whole place is singing Avanagila, and it's really exciting. And I thought, like, wow, when will I ever have a chance to? That's like, when you have the story, you're acquiring the story, and this is a story I'm purchasing right now. And I realized that when I got to see their practice, like it's not like they don't know, they don't have feeling, they don't have seer, they don't have halacha, they don't know. But then I thought, wow, they want to be part of it, and I'm part of it. I've got it, no work, just inheritance, and I'm not doing anything about it. So it makes you cherish it. I remember also kind of surprised it because he was saying, this leader of them, he was telling me that basically his parents were idol worshippers, and he had a dream that he's going to be like Abraham, and he has to follow the Hebrew kind of like style. But he doesn't really know. He's kind of like, they only have the written Torah and translated. They don't have all of the oral tradition, which is really the 3D elements of everything. So they're kind of working with what they understand from the text. And so he told me, one of my missions in his life is to fight the LGBT. And I'm like, okay. They take me to the office. And I'm entering the office and I see everything is like a newspaper about him, like persecuting the LGBT community in Ghana. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like feeling uncomfortable. And it's telling me, yeah, we have to fight them. And I'm telling it, in Israel, you can be anything you want. And it's like, no, you can't. And I'm like, yeah, in fact, like we have LGBT prime minister, members of parliament, and we have LGBTs in the academy, and you can basically we accept everyone and we love everyone, and they're on TV, and each one has their own journey. Everything is fine. It's like he was shocked. He was like he didn't know because he thought, and everything collapsed to him because he thought of Judaism as like a religion, and I was basically telling him, we're a people. This is who I was born like. This is a family thing. It's a genealogical thing. It's a Jewish background. It's not an agenda like you had. You woke up, you had a dream, you have an agenda. It's not an agenda for us. We're children of Abraham. This is who we are. So we have different types of children. And he had a picture of all the prime ministers and of Herzl and Netanyahu. And I told him, none of these are religious. None of them. He was like, I was like, so this isn't even bad, I said, what do you mean? They're not religious? Netanyahu is not religious? Herzl is not religious? And I said, no, they're Jews. They're Jewish. They're not religious. So, what do you mean? I said, we're the Jewish people. And he was just like, I saw that things are collapsing. So many conceptions, but it made me feel proud to be part of a people, not part of a religion. It's a people who carry values, who have a message, who have a mission, but it was an important thing to realize. How committed are you to this identity? That's another thing I realized when I went to the post office, because after a while, I was basically already becoming more in tune with everything. And I wanted more things to read and to have like prayer books and things like this. So I asked my friends, my family, to send me a box and to put like a prayer book and put a book about the history of Moroccan Jews, because this is my Jewish background, Moroccan rabbis and Kabbalists and mystics, and I wanted to read about that. And of course, I'm basically in Bangla in the box. So I was waiting for the box to be shipped. It took about 3 months, and I'm coming to the post office really excited to get it, and it's a big box, and I'm sure it's full of goodies, and he's like wanting to give it to me, and then he says, "You have to give me something." It's like, basically, when the cops say it or someone says it like this, it's kind of like right. I'm like, what do you mean? You need to give me 400 CDs. I would say that's like $200. I was like, oh, really? No, I don't think so. It's like, you give me something. It's like, no. And then he sees, oh, I see this is from Israel. I say, yeah. Are you from Israel? I say, yeah. Are you Jewish? I said, yeah. And he said, I'll make you a deal. Oops. If he's Jewish, I'll make you a deal. That sounds good. You say you accept Jesus as your savior, and you get them. And I'm like, no. And he's trying to convince me. You just say it, doesn't mean it. Just say it. And I'm like, absolutely no. He said, you don't get the box then. I said, no, I don't get the box then. He said, okay. I said, okay. You can leave. I'm leaving. And I'm walking out, knowing that I'm not going to say it for sure. And I'm walking out. And when I was like, the corner, he ran up to me and he said, you can have the box. Gave me the box. And I came home and I just thought, why didn't I want to say it? Like, what's the point? It's just words. It's like an hour ago I was eating something, maybe it wasn't kosher. I wasn't praying that day. I wasn't putting tefillin that day. I wasn't keeping Shabbos. Why not say that? You can just say it, not mean it. And I saw that there is something, it's not a religious practice. It's about who you are, you cannot undo. It's who you are. You can't even by joke. You can't even seemingly be someone else. You can't. It's too much. It's not, you want to, but you can't. It's like, imagine they take a Native American and they tell him, we kill you unless you become, you say you are white. I don't want to die. I would love to say what you want me to say, but I can't not be who I am. That's how Jews died. For so many years, Jews have died and were burnt at the stake, not because they were religious Jews. They were not necessarily the biggest rabbis and biggest tzaddikim and the biggest scholars. Sometimes they were, in fact, very on the other side of things. But when someone told them, either become someone else or die, they just said, I am who I am. I am a Jew. I am a godly soul. And so I don't want to die, but you leave me no choice. It wasn't an agenda. So Baal HaTanya explains that the Jewish Mesirut Nefesh, the Jewish martyrdom, is qualitatively different than any other martyrdom. It's not like other places and cultures don't have it. You have like the Tibetan monks, and you have in South Africa you had the activists who were freeing from the apartheid, and you have people, you had saints like Christian saints that were fighting the Roman Empire. But who were they? The people who died. They were the people who are at the forefront of the ideology. They were people who were living this idea fully, they were representing this idea, they were the leaders of this idea, and so you're not gonna tell me to give up my values. I will die and not give up my values. So in a way, it's not even like you're canceling out yourself. You're actually insisting to be who you want to be. But with the Jews, you see something else. You see, they're like, they don't want to die. They wish they could not, but something deep is awakened, is triggered within them, and they cannot undo it. This is like this wisdom that lightens their heads and their minds and their hearts, and they are just like, I am who I am. And I thought that was really deep. And all these insights, all those experiences just got me very, I would say, confused. Because that is like, so what's next? Do I go home and become ultra orthodox? Do I move to Bnei Brak and start working black and white? What will I tell my parents? What will I tell my professor? And I was kind of like, I think I was depressed almost for a year. I just didn't know what to do. I felt trapped in my old life, had no access to the new life that I had coming. And I was just like, don't know what to do. And then one day, like already listening to more Torah lessons and reading things and doing Shabbos a bit and that. And one day I see a lecture by Rabbi Manis Friedman. I don't know who he is. I've never seen it, but it pops up. And I see the name of the lecture is Why You Shouldn't Be Religious. Like, that sounds like a topic for me. And I'm opening the lecture, and it's basically completely opening my mind to a whole new perspective. And the idea, basically what he's saying there is, what is religion? Religion is an agenda, a framework that people are creating in order to gain benefits from above. So basically, you create a community and you build a set of practices and values that promise you benefits. You're going to get heaven, you're going to save yourself from hell, you're going to get 72 virgins, depends what you prefer. So you can theoretically choose a religion according to the prize you want, or the benefits you want, or the things you want to be saved from. But you just have to believe whichever religion you want, and then if you believe it, you get the perks. What is Judaism? You can be an atheist and you're still 100% kosher Jewish. You can be a Ghanaian rabbi who believes in God with all his might, and you're not Jewish, I'm sorry. So how can you call it a religion? It has nothing to do with faith. The other thing is, it has nothing to do with gaining anything. When did we gain anything? When was it a good idea to be Jewish? Maybe when King Solomon was around. That was a nice time. So at that time, they didn't accept Jews because when it's fun to be Jew, it's not. You can't come to us right now. They have to come when it's bad, then we know you mean it. So they didn't accept. And they're not going to accept Jews when Mashiach comes. Because you want to be Jew, it shouldn't be about gaining anything. There's no gain. So what is it about? There's no gain. It's not about faith. When God created the world, he had a vision in mind. He didn't just create the world and thought, we'll see how it develops. We'll see what happens. He had a vision in mind. And that vision unfolds as every time a new stage, every time a new layer is revealed. One of the most important parts is when Abraham becomes mature enough and becomes receptive enough, and so that's the moment that God comes into history. That's my moment. I'm gonna come in now. And then he calls Abraham. He's like, Abraham, I need you to leave the place that you're living, leave your family, and you're gonna go to Israel, and you're gonna start a nation. And Abraham says, Hineni, which means I'm not doing anything today. I can do that. Basically means I'm at your service. So the question is, who needed who? Abraham was minding his own business. God was approaching Abraham and telling him, I have a plan. Can you please go there and do this? And that repeats again. He goes to Moshe. Moshe is minding his own business. He escaped Egypt. He was a king in Midian. He was having his peaceful life. He was with the shepherd. God is telling him, I need you to go to Egypt and let my people go. Tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And he's like, no, I'm not up for that. Too busy. He's like, no, I need you to do this. No, but I'm not a good speaker. It's interesting. He said, Lo ish dvarim anochi. I'm not a man of words, of dvarim. And then 2 years later, he writes a book called Dvarim. But God was like, for a while, telling him, please, it has to be you. It's like, choose someone else. No, come on. I need them to be out. You have to do this. He's like, okay, I'll do it. For you. I'll do it for you. And then he's taking out all the Jews and he's bringing them to Mount Sinai and he's giving them a Torah. And what is he telling them? He's telling them the same thing. I need you guys to become a light to the nations. I need you guys to go to Israel and live there and build a Mamlechet Kohanim, a kingdom of priests. I need you guys to keep Shabbat. I need you guys to study Torah. So they're like, if you need it, we'll do it. I mean, we have other plans. Sometimes we miss them. We miss our life in Egypt, which means we miss living for free in a way. We miss living without the commitment of doing for you, but not really. Really doing for you is amazing. No, God came to all. God came to all the nations, and He asked them, "I have a Torah. Are you interested?" And they said, "What's in it? What's written in it?" And then it's, "Oh, never mind." Go to another one. "I have a Torah. Are you interested? What's in it? What's written?" Never. Go to the Jews. "I have a Torah. Are you interested?" And say, "Yes." Yes. What's in it? So you got it. What did you get? It doesn't matter what's in it. What matters is that I need you. Isn't this amazing enough? I'm approaching you, asking you to do a mitzvah. Does it matter which mitzvah or what? So in a way, if you think about it like a contract, we were the least responsible. It's like we weren't lawyers yet, a nation of lawyers. Then we learned that's our tikkun. But signing a contract without reading it, but this is not a legal contract. This is us choosing him and him choosing us. And this is not a religion. This is a relationship. And for me, hearing that lecture was just the moment that I realized I want to be part of a relationship. I'm not going to put any titles on myself. I'm not going to change who I am. I'm not going to pretend to be someone else. I'm just in the relationship right now. I'm entering the relationship. I'm asking, what can I do for it? And it ended up changing a lot in my life. But it was natural. And so I put this in a book. because I had to share this with my family, my friends, everyone. And I took the lecture and many other lectures of Rabbi Manis and created a book that really shows, it starts with a short introduction telling about my journey to Africa. Then it goes into the philosophy, Hasidic philosophy, how to see Judaism not as a religion, but as a relationship. In Israel, it's sold 42,000 copies, 4 years. It's really famous. I knew it's going to be famous. You're going to be famous. So like, no, I know. This is big. Big news. And he's famous. The book is famous. And it's like in, all the public libraries, all the Chabad houses, the yeshivas, the Airbnbs, you see like on the street. Really nice. And every time I had messages, is it out in English? Is it available in English? I'm like, no. People thought it may be a translation because he's speaking English. Maybe it's a translated book. No, it's an original Hebrew book. It wasn't available in English. And now I'm here because it's available in English. And I thought in my imagination that I'm going to have some copies too. But life is what it is. And
We'll get the copy.
Yeah,
Everybody
we'll
wants
get
the
the
book for
copy.
$25. We'll get it here in the next
For
few
sure.
days or week.
Yeah,
Autographed, maybe autographed, I don't know.
Yeah,
And we'll get them here.
sure.
Whenever God wants it to happen.
Exactly.
Did you translate it then yourself into English or?
No, I was supervising it because we really wanted to keep. It has a nice it has lots of humor and jokes. A lot of translators were kind of like making it too serious or too formal. So I was really important for me to make sure that it keeps the spirit. And Baruch Hashem, it looks good, works well, and you're going to enjoy it.
So did you finish your thesis and how are your parents with your, service level?
Good question. I finished my thesis a lot thanks to the Lubavitcher Rebbe because I didn't want to finish it. I was into other things by then. So I was really excited about writing this book and about Tanya and teaching the world about Judaism. But someone told me that someone came to the Rebbe and asked him, like, should I go join a yeshiva? Should I do this? And he told me, you have to finish your PhD. So I saw it as like a personal thing, like saying to me, you have to finish your PhD. I finished my PhD. It won first prize in Israel for best PhD in anthropology. Wow. Really amazing.
How long ago?
So it was about privacy. It's called the secret life of West like middle class Ghana. It was published as a book by Routledge, but it's interesting because I think maybe 10 people bought this book. And it was a good comparison to see what happens when you do something for the world and what happens when you write something for your own career or like associate or something. But I finished it and at the same year, both of them were published. One exploded, the other one is more like, it's more niche, more academic. And about my parents, they were really, like always, they were supportive. They had to support worse things by then. So they were well trained and they accepted it somewhere.
You became a heroin addict. He's still Jewish.
Yeah. And my mom ended up following, and my sister, and like things have changed in the house generally. Yeah.
How many years ago did this all take place? And I want to know why you picked Ghana. Random from Israel.
Yeah, it's pretty random. And all of this happened exactly 10 years ago. I was in my 30th birthday, and I had like a 30th. Is it a midlife crisis? Is it midlife? That means you live up to 60. But it was like, wow, you become a grown up. It's real. It happens. I was shocked. Like no one told me. And suddenly it happened. And I was like, where is this going? This thing that's called my life. So that was 10 years ago. I can't believe it. But it took overall, like I came back there again and I write it up. So I finished the whole thing about 5 years ago. Yeah. 34, 35, I got the piece. So I lived in England, in London for 5 years. That's where I studied my BA and my master's degree. And in London, it's a very international place and very multicultural. I had friends from all different places in the world. And I was actually, as like a non-English, at first I thought that I would be probably friends with the English, but I didn't click with them so much. I was clicking with the other people, Jamaicans, the Africans, and so I had a very, very good friend. She's still a very good friend who was from Ghana originally. And she tell me a lot about Ghana. And then for my master's in London, I was researching Ghanaian families in London. And for my PhD, I just wanted to take it to the next level and challenge myself. Most academics in Israel, in social sciences, they study Israel. And I think that's important, but I think it doesn't follow that what we talked about seeing yourself by stepping out of yourself. And that's why they have their own like political agendas and they have their own idea about what's going on. And it never changes. They do this study of like what I said in the beginning, like they imagine what is the reality and they just write it up. Nothing is surprising for them because they come already loaded with what it's gonna be, but it is, and everything falls into place. So I thought I want to come somewhere clean. I want to just study a place that is new, and it will be a nice experience to go to Africa. And out of all the countries, this seems like a most peaceful, small, inviting place to choose.
Privacy.
Yeah.
Are you speaking English?
There, yeah, yes.
Thank you very, 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 very much.
For the families, the Ghana families in England as private at home.
Not as much at all. They were already there for a few decades. Some of them from the 50s. They were elites who moved to England after, and they had a different style. And yeah, it was about like about family photos, and they showed me their family photos. It's different. Yeah.
Is your PhD thesis available?
Yes. Yeah. Wow, you'll be the 11th person reading it. I'll be glad to read it. It'll be great. It's a good book, but it's just for someone who's interested in like research.
What is it called?
I'll tell you the exact name.
Oh, well, that's okay. Thank you.
I'm glad you read.
Urban Ghana and privacy in the digital age.
And privacy.
Yeah. Real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh, you can sell some books right now.
Thank you. Like I said, if anybody wants the books, they will be available as soon as, okay, we don't have to leave just yet. We got an extension for extra 30 minutes. I'm not chasing you out. But if Dr. Ben Elul has some time, if anybody wants to talk to him, I'll start cleaning up my parts.
Sure.
Okay, look formal. I'm gonna stop the Zoom.
Q&A.
Should stop the recording at least.
Where else do you traveling to?
Okay, so I have a whole schedule.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. Tomorrow, I'm going to Chabad of in Santa Cruz, and then Chabad of San Jose in Los Gatos.
Yeah.
and then Chabad Center in San Mateo,
Yes.
and then maybe
That's a
San.
lot.
You're gonna experience a whole new level of traffic.
Yeah.
Beautiful place, beautiful place. Let's just say I used to be from there.
And you're driving.
Is there other,
I'm driving, yeah,
Driving yourself.
yeah.
are there other countries
Yes.
that, besides in Africa, that have Jewish, strange Jewish traditions? Have you ever thought of visiting anything in the Americas?
So I know, yes, that South America has a really strong also affiliation, like with Jewish traditions. Native Americans have, in Afghanistan and India, you can find a lot of, because of the lost tribes also. Some people related to that. They were absorbed in different ancient culture.
You should check out Guatemala. They have an Israel Day there.
Wow.
Really?
Yes. It's true. It's very similar to what you talked about. They love Israel. They may not know about all the monuments to, like, there's even an avenue of Jews in Guatemala City. You might check it out. You might find that there's 900 Jews there.
Ah, okay.
He found a message for the Jewish people now. He's busy.
Traffic for the next, so maybe he has some spare time. Maybe research.
Interesting.
In Ghana, they had like Israel flags in cars. The taxi drivers had, it was really amazing. Pictures of pictures of Netanyahu. Yeah.
Not quite sure it's that
What do you think?
deep in Guatemala, but it's interesting.
You think it's changed now? The reception, you had a very warm reception, maybe from Israel, all waiting, waiting. Yeah, it's not so great, you know.
Yeah, I think it's probably better now.
Because of the Christians.
Because they see what's happening right there. October 7th is like a turning point where if it was like complicated, there's this side and that side, you saw. It was like a cartoon. You literally saw. Who's good and who's bad.
We did, but I mean, like South Africa.
But that didn't happen in Europe.
But yeah, that's kind of like the more Western white style, but the rest of the world, the people who are believing and traditional, most of them really support. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Something positive. Yes, it
Something good. Something good.
Did you ever find out what theology was behind the Ghanaian Jews? I mean, they didn't know anything about Judaism, but they were still very interested in it. The same way in Zimbabwe, it was the lost tribe of Jews that they only discovered about 20 years ago.
Yeah. So these were not lost tribes. This was a guy completely started like his own thing. It's just lots of inspiration and confusion, I think. Not really knowing what's the difference between a Jew and a non-Jew. They're excited about the message of Torah, and they're right, because the message of Torah is for everyone.
It's like
It's for everyone, but they do need to get guidance on.
Yeah.
I have decided to write a book with Rabbi Manis Friedman. I'm not a Jew, now what? Like, you still have a purpose, you're still valuable, you're still needed. It's just a different direction. Like there's different direction for men and women, different direction for priests and non-priests. Different directions.
But no high laws.
Yes, exactly. It's just about reading the Torah correctly with Jewish guidance. But if you just see the light and you get inspired and you want to invent your own ideas, it's becoming confusing.
Well, that's like Jesus.
Yeah.
Like they,
Right. Yeah.
they.
Have you met Jews for Jesus?
Works for.
There?
No, have you met Jews for
Ah.
Jesus? Because I've met them and they're very enthusiastic
Yes.
and they love Judaism and the Jews, but they have a twist on it.
Yeah, I've.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've met
It's funny, if you say it, and I think the same people we have a lot of criticism for the sages. You know, people say these are just the wise men just made it up. This is not Torah, like like in Israel, they have a lot of people saying that all those little rules, it's not written in Torah, how you have to wash your hands and you have to bless. It's just the people invented it. Those people are what makes Judaism really structured, and when you take them out, it becomes a whole mess. They are the ones who preserve the message. When you want to get it right, go to them. The sages. If we don't have emunat chachamim, if we don't have this humility towards the wise men of our ancestors, the sages, we don't really understand what's going on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to your humor as well. Very nice.
Yeah, thanks. So it's good to hear.
Congratulations, you're going, giving the.